Hey everyone, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Harmon. Today's video is all about a man by the name of George Emil Banks, who ended up murdering 13 people, with most of those being his own family members. So we're gonna walk down the neighborhood and I'm gonna show you guys the house where all that transpired. So let's get in over to the house where it all happened, and I'll tell you guys more of the story along the way. Now, I would say most of the victims were either current girlfriends or former girlfriends of George, along with many of George's own children. George went to bed as per usual at his house, but before he went to bed, he took a mixture of gin and prescription drugs. He awoke on September 25th, 1982, and went on a absolutely terrible murder spree. Now, George used a AR-15 semi-automatic rifle for the murders. So first he murdered Regina Clemens with a gunshot wound to her face. Next, he murdered Montezuma Banks, again the daughter of Regina and George's, with a gunshot wound to her heart. Next, he murdered Susan Uhas, who was again one of the former girlfriends of George's. He shot her with a gunshot wound to the head. Boendi Banks was next, again 4 years old. He was shot and killed in the face. Maritonia Banks, she was only 20 months old, again one of George's own daughters, and he shot and killed her in the face as well. Next, he shot Dorothy Lyons, 29, with a gunshot wound to the neck. He then murdered Nancy Lyons, again Dorothy's daughter and George's daughter, with a gunshot wound to the head. He then went and killed Fairrood Banks, again 1 year old, one of George's other young sons, and he killed him with a gunshot to the head. After killing those 8 family members in the house, he then dressed in military fatigues and made his way outside. And that is when he saw across the street 22-year-old Jimmy Olsen and 24-year-old Ray Hall Jr. Now, George opened fire on both of them and yelled something to the effect of that they were not going to tell anyone about what they had just heard or saw. Jimmy survived, although his friend Raymond Hall did not. Raymond died from a gunshot wound to the liver and kidney. Now, George went to the mobile home park called Heather Highlands, and this was the mobile home park where one of his former girlfriends named Sharon Mazzillo lived with George's other son. George forced his way inside and shot Sharon. He then placed the gun to his own sleeping child's head and shot one shot, killing the little boy. George then killed Sharon's mother and brother, who were also in the home. And hiding in the closet was Sharon's other brother, who George did not see. So the other brother actually survived. He went to his mom's house and I guess told her what he had just done. When she asked him what happened, he said, "It's all over, I did it, I killed everyone." So George Banks' house, where the murders took place, is on 28 Schoolhouse Lane. But this blue and white house right here, this is George Banks' house where he killed 8 of the 13 victims. So remember what I said, one of the victims he shot across the street. So I don't know if there was a house right here 40 years ago, or if it was, you know, maybe this house, or maybe that house. George was, of course, taken to court, and a jury found him guilty of 12 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of third-degree murder. He also was charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault, etc. He was then given the death penalty for those crimes. So I read some more information that talked about why George went on this massacre murder spree to begin with. And apparently he said that he did not want his children growing up in a world where they would be tormented by the cruelty of racial views against mixed children. That's what he said. So I guess he didn't want his children to grow up in a world where they would be treated unfairly because they were mixed. I'm assuming because George was black and maybe some of his girlfriends or former girlfriends were of a different race. Now, obviously, that sounds like a very just bogus reason to kill anyone, but that was what he said. But I also read that George was also a prison guard at a prison. They said it was called like a prison camp. And they said that 19 days prior to him committing this massacre, so that would have been September 6th, he attempted to kill himself on post, working as a correctional officer or prison guard. So they actually relieved him of his duties because of that. So maybe his, being upset that he was essentially fired from this job, in combination with his, bizarre mental thinking of, the racial injustice he thought his kids might endure. I guess all that combined is why he killed everyone. Either way, just absolutely terrible massacre. 13 people lost their lives, lots of children. So anyway, guys, I'm gonna head out of here. I have lots more cases to do today. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thank you for watching.